You're listening to Pack Dynamics, a Fandom on the Rocks podcast. Hello, welcome to Pack Dynamics, a Teen Wolf podcast. I'm Emily.
And I'm Allison.
And this is Season 3, Episode 2, Chaos Rising.
Ooh.
Spooky.
Well, I mean, chaos does start in this episode, so like it's not funny, like haha, but it's not wrong.
Am I funny to you? Like funny haha?
Like funny haha?
This is not funny haha.
No, it's really not. But my baby girl finally gets to take a vacation, and I love that for her.
Do we?
Yeah, no, she is. We'll talk about it when we get there, but she is the second of the pack to move to an international location where she is safe from harm.
Yeah, drinking pina coladas in the pouring rain.
Yeah, in the pouring rain. Sounds great. Let's do it.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of intro talk because we want to really just smash right into this episode. So, Allison and Lydia stumble upon a possible clue to finding Boyd and Erica while a childhood friend of Stiles goes missing. This episode aired June 10th, 2013. So once again, we have Lydia and Allison in the car. I don't know who's paying for their gas money. No one seems to have a job.
No one seems to have a job. But, you know, Allison's dad did just sell their house. So they probably got some extra cash floating around.
A little cash on the side. I think some of these kids could use a job to diversify their portfolio.
As we learn in this thing, Stiles is only 16.
I know. That was a weird. I was like, aren't you? Well, it does make sense, though, if you think about it. They started as sophomores, and I think only 4 days have passed since season 1.
No, they're all juniors now. But yeah, no. And because Scott has a job with Dr. Deaton.
Yes.
And like, who knows if Allison has joined her father's business as a well-respected arms dealer.
Mm-hmm. Yes. She's probably getting paid minimum wage, but it at least is something to put on her resume in the future.
Yeah, it's something.
Cold-blooded murderer.
Yeah, it's fine. I have no idea. Stiles should definitely have a job, but it just, I don't know.
I assume he's an unpaid intern at the sheriff's department.
Oh, I think by unpaid intern, you mean he just goes and bullies people into letting him read things.
Yes.
He's like, if I promise that you can go and organize something, will you go away? And he goes, yes. And then just goes into the file room and just reads everything.
Yes. He's making copies for himself and for the department.
Under the guise of organization.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
But remember, this is back in 2013. Gas was cheaper then.
Oh, was it ever?
It was cheaper then.
I really hate watching movies that are set before 2019, 2018. And you see gas at like $2.20 a gallon. You're like, hey, fuck you guys.
I remember that. But then again, I also remember the first time I drove past a gas station in LA where unleaded gas was $6 a gallon.
Oh my God, that one station in Beverly Hills.
One station in Beverly Hills where gas was $6 a gallon. And in LA, it was at like $4.15 kind of across the board. Like, it was not cheap. There's
just that one station. And you're like, who is coming here to pay more than $1 more?
Why? What is the purpose?
I don't know. I drove past that leaving work sometimes. Like, what are you doing?
What is the purpose? Is this like a bragging rights? Like, I have so much money. Like, what is the purpose?
I think it is. I think that was like, hey, I'm so rich, I do not care how much my gas is.
Well, Allison and Lydia seem to not care how expensive their gas is because they are just driving everywhere.
There's a lot of driving in this season so far.
Yeah. Beacon Hills has gotten bigger.
I think the parameters of the town have grown. So has the fog budget.
There's so much fog. But we are not worried about Allison and Lydia right now because we are worried about Scott and Stiles because they are going to a
party. Yes, this is Stiles' nursery school best friend is having her 17th birthday party. And they are going because Stiles, I guess, needs some new friends. And Heather is going to introduce them to all her friends.
Somebody to help get Scott over Allison, expand their circle of friends outside of those with claws and fangs, get a little bit of like normalcy happening. So great.
Yeah, no Allison, no Lydia. They are moving on. And Heather is turning 17 and she wants to have sex.
Yes, she sure does. And her bestie Danielle.
Yes, who we
her
saw.
Her bestie Danielle, who has made like very sporadic appearances throughout the past few seasons.
We do love a returning a returning background actor.
We do. We love a returning background actor. Hello, Danielle. I hope you're having a great day, because this is who dunked Stiles in the pool.
Hell yeah.
At Lydia's party at that one time. It's fantastic. Incredible. But Danielle is like, are you sure that this is what you want to do right now?
Mm-hmm.
And Heather's like, yep. And Danielle's like, do you have a target? And Heather's like, yes, I do. Because Stiles walks in the door, is like, oh my God, Heather. And Heather's just like, zoom.
She found a target. I think anyone who had walked in the door at that moment would have been the target. It happens to be Stiles. Heather is locked in and goes right for a smooch.
And everybody's faces are just excellent. Scott
so
is like,
good.
Scott is amazed. Danielle is like, you go girl. And Stiles is like,
Danielle's like, you go girl. And also like, this one?
This one?
Okay. I guess.
Such an excellent little reaction.
It's so cute.
But Stiles is immediately whisked away by Heather, who is like, let's go.
She wastes absolutely zero time. She is like, this is the cold open and we are going into the basement right now to have sex.
Why? In your own house,
Mm-hmm.
why would you choose the wine cellar?
Yeah,
I'm assuming.
She could have gone upstairs
versus your own bedroom.
I know. Well, I think it's because the location that they picked for this scene had a wine cellar.
I mean, probably, yes.
And it looked cool.
It looked really cool. But yeah. I also really appreciate that Danielle and Scott have a moment where she's like, maybe. And then she checks out his booty. And then she goes, no, thank you.
No, thank you.
Which is, excuse me, because Scott McCall is a cutie with a booty.
He is.
So like, I don't know. But Danielle decides that is not for her. So Heather immediately whisks Stiles into the wine cellar and they are getting sexy.
Mm-hmm. Where I'm sure it's like a chilly 55 to keep that wine.
In the wine cellar. And she takes off her giant heels and immediately shrinks like 6 inches.
She is tiny.
She's so small. Yeah, onto that cold concrete floor. I'm sure that's delightful.
I do appreciate her asking for like clear verbal consent from Stiles.
They are trying their absolute best to have a like clear, informed consent conversation. This is about as much as I could ask of somebody at 16. 17.
Yeah, well, she's like, 17 now.
She's 17 now. But like they were both trying. They were doing the call and response and they were thinking about it and like talking it through. And like, you know, Heather, when she immediately gets that, like, stops and checks in with him. Mm-hmm. And so we confirm that Stiles is 16 years old and a virgin for what it's worth. But they are so trying to have that consent conversation. And I'm very proud of them for that.
Me too. And proud of Teen Wolf for putting it in there.
Yes, good job. And
although they don't say the word condom.
No, they don't, but they do hint at it really hard because they send Stiles directly upstairs to find one. Mm-hmm. So we love our safer sex practices. We love the expectation on both parties to use prophylactics. Like I love everything about this.
Me too.
Gold star.
His frantic search in the bathroom for Heather's brother's stash.
Lol.
Where he only finds an XXL condom. And then his facial expressions and the look down of like, I guess this will have to do.
I have two thoughts. About this. First off, what the hell was that look? What is that trying to convey?
I think it's conveying not me, but okay.
Like, because I feel I got that look was just like the director going, look surprised. Because I'm like, I don't know what are you trying to tell me in this? What are you trying to tell me? But he's having a lot of feelings about it. But the thing that I will say, because I'm just feeling a lot of feelings about safer sex practices in general, I swear to God, we should just have sized condoms. As opposed to like the one size fits most model. Like it doesn't. Penises come in a lot of different shapes and sizes, all things considered. And
am I gonna have to mark this podcast not safe for work for once?
I mean, maybe, but like needing to use a condom that fits, whatever that means for you. Use a condom that fits, because if it is too small, it's all gonna hurt. If it's too big, it's gonna fall off and not do its job. Like, and there is no shame in getting a condom that fits.
Yep.
So condoms should come in sizes That's my rant. They should come in sizes.
They're going to have to name them like manly, manliest, super manly.
I think they did that. There was something. I'll try to find it and maybe put it in the show notes if I can find it. But they did not to do the TikTok, like there was a study, but I feel like I remember someplace did this and that nobody would buy like small condoms because they don't want to be associated with small condoms, but that like larges and over just didn't fit. And so they had to like rebrand them in a way where the people would buy the size of condom that they needed.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
I feel like that was somewhere. I'll try to find it. But Stiles definitely finds a condom. It is an XXL condom and he looks surprised.
Yes. However, meanwhile, in the basement, Heather is not having a great time. She is waiting for Stiles to get back, but the wine bottles have started like rattling in their little spaces. They're falling to the floor and shattering. It's all very poltergeist. There's broken glass and wine and shit everywhere. She's like stepping in the broken glass and the wine with her sad bare feet. It looks incredibly painful. Everything is spooky and gross and dark. She's like backing towards the wall. The basement window like creaks open above her. She kind of looks up and screams and then gets yoinked through the window and is gone.
Bye.
Bye, Heather. We barely knew ye.
Yeah, Heather, we barely knew ye.
So nice to see you for a few minutes in an episode.
So, like, I think my question here is, one, the scene is incredibly beautifully shot.
That was cool.
But it's one of those, like, and we have a major genre shift.
Mm-hmm.
From, like, quirky teen comedy to horror. Straight horror.
Full horror.
Full horror. Full poltergeist horror.
Upstairs in the bathroom, it was American Pie. Downstairs in the basement, it's Poltergeist, The Ring, any horror movie that you can think of.
So we'll flesh this idea out over the next several episodes. But like, my big question here, did Heather need to be scared first? Does that like play into this at all? Or was it just like for fun and for profit?
Ooh, good question.
But I'd like to keep that question kind of in our minds.
Yes.
Because like the werewolves can do all these cool things about like smelling emotions, and it's apparently very important to them. And it's like, was it important?
But keep a werewolf smell question in your mind, and we'll come back to it.
Yes, I will try my best.
Okay.
So our final piece at the party is that Allison and Lydia,
hold on, because Stiles returns, and there's no mess.
Oh, he does. Why?
Nothing. There's no mess. The wine bottles are in place. There's no glass. There's no nothing. Everything is clean and perfect. There's also just no Heather. It's as if nothing happened. There's just a missing girl.
What happened?
Nothing.
What? Like, how?
And also, if you think about it, maybe the party upstairs might have heard an earthquake happening in a basement. Unless the music was that loud.
Maybe.
I feel like Danielle would have been like, something's happening to my girl.
Well, because like her girl goes down into the basement and then she hears spooky noises from the basement. Like she would go.
Mm-hmm. But yes.
Of course she would.
Stiles is left with just the condom and
an empty basement.
Yep. Now, Scott meets Allison and Lydia outside the party with questions about the lingering bruises.
Yes, because Allison and Lydia are teammates in all the best ways. They are together forever.
And they were roommates.
Correct. Do you notice that they both glowed up real hard?
They did.
I wonder why.
Allison's hair is so bouncy now.
It's beautiful. It's just beautiful.
I want someone to do my hair every day.
Same.
It's always what I think of when I see shows like this. Is like, God, I wish I had a hairdresser in my house.
Your hair is so beautiful. Thank you. It took me 800 hours to do.
Thank you. Someone just lives in my house and does it for me.
Well, speaking of somebody who finally has a house.
We've got a new set location. We have and then this is in uppercase, upper T, upper L, the loft.
The loft.
This is the loft. This is Derek's new loft. We don't know how he affords this. We don't know who his broker was, but he has gotten himself a poorly lit, under-furnished loft.
The penthouse loft.
Mm-hmm.
With a big window, a wall of windows.
A wall of windows, which seems very unsafe for someone who is constantly under attack.
Correct. Who's constantly worried about being transformed, who's constantly worried about, like... Violence seems like a choice, but, okay.
Seems like maybe another house in the woods would have been a better idea.
Yeah.
But, it's cool looking.
I'm just saying it sure would have made a lot more sense if there were somebody else who could have talked him into this location over the summer.
Yeah. Is it closer to the sheriff's house? I don't know.
Is it perhaps easier and more secure for humans?
Mm-hmm. To get in and out of?
To get in and out of? Easier to find?
And also, do they ever, and I don't remember, do they say where the loft is? Because later Peter's like, no, I have an apartment downtown. But to me, a loft is downtown. And he makes it sound like he doesn't live nearby.
He does make it seem like it doesn't live nearby. I have no idea. But yeah, a loft really does feel like a downtown kind of problem.
Is this the artist district on Main Street? Where is this?
I have no idea. But the building doesn't look like it's in great shape.
It doesn't. It looks very... Maybe this is near one of the warehouses. Ooh, is this near the jungle?
Plot twist, the jungle's in the basement.
Ooh, and he's rented... That's how he gets money, is he is now the proprietor of the jungle.
Yeah, he owns the building. Fic has taught us that Derek owns the building.
Yeah, obviously.
Fanon or canon? I think that's Fanon.
That is full Fanon.
I think that's Fanon. But yeah, no, I'm done. I bought it. I'm done. It's amazing.
We're into it.
Derek owns the entire building. The jungle is in the basement of that building. And Derek is now the sole owner and proprietor of the jungle.
And the betas are his bouncers, the bartender, everybody.
Until they all move to Europe. It's fine.
Obviously.
Yes, absolutely. So Isaac and Derek are in the loft trying to talk about what's next in their search for Boyd and Erica. And they're having this conversation about somebody that they don't trust.
I love this conversation.
And it's incredible. We do get a little sprinkling here. Isaac's well, personally, I trust Scott. Mm-hmm. And Derek goes, well, do you trust me? And Isaac's like, yeah. It's do you?
Mm-hmm. There's a trust triangle happening here.
There is a trust triangle.
Derek doesn't trust Scott. Isaac trusts Scott. Does Isaac trust Derek? Derek probably trusts Isaac. Scott doesn't trust Derek. Scott probably trusts Isaac.
And nobody trusts Uncle Peter.
Nobody trusts Uncle Peter.
And nobody trusts Uncle Peter. Yeah,
I don't like him.
I don't like him. Nobody likes him.
Cut to Peter entering the loft and say whatever it is straight to my face. Cut to Derek. We don't like you. Now shut up and help us.
Incredible.
Perfect. Incredible. Peter is there to help draw memories out of Isaac using this, quote, ancient ritual used by alphas. All right. Okay. I guess we've technically seen him do this before on the lacrosse field, right? And did it before somewhere else.
Yeah, and didn't he do this to Scott in night school?
Yeah, I think so.
To share memories of the fire.
Yeah, but now he's doing it legitskis.
Yeah, now he's doing it legitskis.
And what he's going to do is stab his claws into Peter's neck. I'm guessing maybe brainstem. I don't know how it's happening here. It could paralyze him. It could kill him. He says he's never paralyzed somebody. There is a look on Derek's face that's but have you killed somebody?
There sure is.
And no answer comes.
No answer comes. Peter just shoves his whole claw into Isaac's neck.
Yes. We get a series of very, very fuzzy memory flashes of Isaac finding Erica and Boyd and Deucalion. But we don't know where. Only that there was a promise made that by the full moon, they would be dead. But which full moon? Tomorrow night. So the clock is tick-tocking.
Tick-tock.
Yep. So then we've got the pack gathering at school for some reason to have Scott wants Derek to look at the bruises on Lydia and Allison's arms because maybe he'll be able to piece the little puzzle together. What is the symbol? And I like this conversation because finally someone is looking at Allison and going, are you going to apologize for being a psychotic bitch for a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
Because Scott's they're trying to help. And Derek's whole face in the scene is fantastic. Tyler Hoechlin can really do Sour Wolf Sassmaster well.
Yes. Oh my God, this whole episode.
It's so good because he's these two, the one who tried to resurrect my psychotic uncle, Thank you, by the way. And this one,
Thanks.
who shot 30 arrows into me and my pack, and there is
Thanks.
no hint of apology from Allison whatsoever.
No, none.
Not one. And I was like, I had forgotten about this. I just remembered the feeling of being angry at Allison growing. Not you, Allison.
No. Yes, the Argent.
Yes. Sometimes I'm like, ooh, we should change one of your names because I feel like I'm yelling at you and not Allison. Argent. But I was like, oh, this is why I didn't like Allison so much. Because she's not taking any responsibility. And I know she's a wee child. I know she's so young. But here's someone like looking at you in your eyeballs and saying, hey, you did a bad thing to me and my family. Here's an opportunity.
Yeah. And then they kind of hit this note again because, there's a bunch of tension. So you got kind of Derek and then Scott and then Lydia and Allison.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's Stiles, who is trying to like break up the tension because Stiles very clearly cares about all four of the people in this conversation and doesn't want them fighting.
Yeah. Mom and Dad are fighting again.
And so Stiles is like, we got maimed a little, whatever, but nobody died. And Allison's like, my mother died.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Derek rightly is like, your family's little honor code killed your mom, not me. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, Derek's like, hey, Scott, you got to tell the truth about her mom.
Because Chris still hasn't.
Mm-hmm. Which I get. Like, I bet it's really hard for Chris to tell his daughter the truth about her mom.
Yeah. That's an impossible ask. And I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody needs to tell her.
Someone needs to tell her, especially if she's still walking around holding on to all of this. It's not wrong, but it's like misinformed anger.
Yeah, it's misplaced.
Yeah. And if she's supposed to be working with the pack, she can't do it properly when all her tendrils of anger are going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, like she's still, I think, more mad at Derek than she is like at Gerard.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like, and I think we're going to end up seeing like at the end of this episode and maybe into the next one, as that kind of starts to shift. But it's like Derek has lost so much at the feet of her family specifically. And Allison is still like trying to center herself in this. And it's like, I get it, but also you could apologize.
You could take this moment to like, and I get Derek not wanting to be the one to say like, hey, your mom was trying to kill your boyfriend. Actively killing
actively killing your boyfriend. You're welcome, by the way.
Because she's not going to believe him?
No.
It's like, it is his story to tell because he walked in on it, but it's not his story to tell because he wasn't the one being murdered.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why he's constantly trying to like, Scott, you have to tell her.
And it puts Scott in the position of needing, Scott like never wants to go against Allison. Yeah. And it forces Scott to have to do something negative to Allison, which he like patently refuses to do, which is one of his worst qualities. It
makes it real rough sometimes. I can say that.
Yeah. The risk and reward thing.
Yeah.
Like, but the long-term reward of telling Allison the truth is greater than the risk. But for as good as Scott is in this episode of risk and reward, he's missing it here.
Yeah, because in this
he hasn't been given the lesson yet, but yeah.
No, he hasn't been given the lesson yet, but he like he isn't quite yet willing to risk the potential of anything with Allison.
Yep.
He's just not willing to risk that, even though right now he doesn't have it at all. Like they're broken up. They are broken up, capital B.
Yep.
And
are you ever really broken up in high school? At least these kids.
Well, these kids aren't the Blob.
This is true.
Although they're in my heart, there is a version of this in which they are the Blob.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
the Blobbies.
Well, you've got Lydia and Scott, and Lydia and Stiles, and Lydia and Allison, and Lydia and Derek. And then you've got, Derek and Stiles, and Derek and Scott, and Derek and Lydia, and Derek and Allison, which all gold star. Scott and Allison, Scott and Lydia, Scott and Stiles. Like
Blobby.
The whole blob works. The whole blob. I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Just as long as people are using their words and taking responsibility.
Yeah, and that is a thing that Allison is really missing here.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's rough. It's rough. Like, and here's the other, on the other side of this, though, Derek is still blaming Lydia for resurrecting Peter, which was not her fucking fault at all.
Yeah. She was
Derek,
possessed.
Yeah, she was definitely possessed. Like, so Derek also is doing this shitty thing and is accusing Lydia of doing something that she had absolutely no part in.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
And so when Derek finally figures that shit out, he owes Lydia a big apology for that.
Because let's not forget, despite Tyler Hoechlin looking like a grown man, Derek Hale is like 20.
At best.
At best. He's still got growing up to do.
Oh, yeah.
So he is not... Tyler Hoechlin, grown adult. Derek Hale, barely out of his teens.
Barely. Made of jello. Brain of jello.
Supremely stunted young man.
Big trauma. Everybody across the board.
He is not their elder. He looks like it.
No.
But functionally, he is not a grand elder to these kids.
No. When they were freshmen, like, he was not
maybe
that
a senior. Maybe. We don't even know if he graduated at this point. Like,
yeah, I have no idea.
So, anyway, speaking of graduation, we have an economics class.
Yeah, we do. Does that class have a teacher?
It does. It has Coach Finstock somehow trying to teach the stock market.
Which is excellent. I really appreciate that he attempts to teach the stock market using the popular drinking game, quarters.
I was like, what are we doing? He also teaches it on the floor where no one can see.
Why?
I don't know.
Coach.
And he asks a question of the class, and when Scott is like, I have the answer, he laughs right in his face.
He sure does. And Scott, like, doesn't shrink away from it.
I know.
That has got to be so embarrassing and so hard to hear that, like, your coach, one of the grown-ups in your life who you trust, doesn't believe in you at all.
Statistically, he earned it. But,
he did, and it still sucks.
No teacher should ever laugh at you for trying.
Absolutely not. But then it turns out that Scott actually has the right answer, and Coach Stiles, Coach, there we go. Through my little Rolodex here.
Coach Stiles.
Like, so proud. Coach is like, who are you? And what if you know Scott McCall? I like this one. Like, oh my God.
Well, at the end of season 2, he was like, I need you to be better.
Yeah.
And he got better.
Scott worked really hard all summer.
Yeah.
Ugh, so good.
Yeah. So he's going to play this little game of risk and reward, and he asks if anyone has a quarter. Stiles digs into his pocket to get one and happens to fling the XXL condom out of his pocket onto the floor. I think anyone in my class would have just died if that happened.
Yeah, but mine too.
Coach, like, picks the condom up off the floor, looks at it, and he says, congratulations to Stiles.
Yes, he sure does.
Which is so inappropriate.
Yes, it is. It sure is. It sure is.
But because it's a TV show.
Yeah, it's a TV show. But like, oof, don't do that.
Don't do that. So yeah, we go through this conversation about high risk, low reward, low risk, high reward with this game of quarters where Scott chooses not to play, which is interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's honestly, that is a thing that that's the trouble that I have with Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Is that very often when given a choice, he just says like A or B and he says no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like as a person, I absolutely agree with him.
Yeah.
Like as a person, if I'm saying like, do you want to take this thing that you're not very good at and lose? Or do you want to just punk out and not play? It's like, yes, of course I want to just punk out and not play. Mm-hmm. Of course I do. But as a TV character, like I need you to make choices to drive things forward.
Yeah.
Like I need to watch you do something. And so that's kind of the thing that I will end up running into. And so far I have been pleasantly surprised, but that's like sort of what I remember being really frustrated with the first time I went through this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
So
be interesting. Make a choice.
I need you to make like as a person, Scott McCall is like the best. As a TV character, I need you to make a choice.
Yes, I also wish to opt out. However, I don't want to be in this narrative. But
same and so of all the people that he asks, Stiles finally says yes to Coach's offer of quarters.
Of course he
And
does.
of course he does, because he's just ready to move the plot forward, and is politely interrupted by his father, the sheriff.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Sheriff's there to look for him because Heather is missing. And the sheriff has some questions because Scott was the last person who saw her alive. And if any of you are murderinos or at all interested in true crime, you know that it is not good to be the last person who saw a missing person alive.
Poor Stiles.
Yeah.
He is the immediate suspect, because like we
Sure
all
is.
saw, quote unquote, something. We saw
Yep.
all the wine bottles break, and we saw her get disappeared through a window, and we're like, oh my God, it wasn't Stiles. But like Stiles, when going into the basement, saw nothing wrong. There was no
Yep.
evidence to suggest that Heather had been disappeared.
True. Well, I mean, and, you know, it's a party, right?
Right.
But I imagine a number of people, including Scott and Danielle, saw Stiles go into the basement with Heather.
Yeah.
And then only saw Stiles leave.
Right.
Not great.
Nope. Not great.
The evidence not good.
Not great.
Next week on True Crime. Next week on Someone Knows Something.
Next week on Someone Knows Something. Absolutely.
We'll discuss the curious case of Heather in the basement.
Speaking of Someone Knows Something, Lydia and Allison, our best tag team of the episode, are in the library, and Allison is furiously trying to figure out what this mark is, but Lydia wants a twin.
She even says as such, I want one. Which one? The straight one, obviously.
So in this moment, I'm just gonna put a pin in this. Lydia has a frighteningly accurate gaydar.
Oh yeah, she do.
She has a very strong and accurate gaydar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna add that to the things that we know about Lydia Martin.
Come back to the list of like, put a pin in it, and we'll come back to it in later seasons.
Yes, we'll come back to it in later seasons.
If we remember.
Yeah, well, you know, maybe.
Someone should be taking notes.
Someone. We need like a third person. We need like an intern.
Fuck. Where's my cat? Will he take notes?
Wesley.
He absolutely won't.
He will not. He will not.
No.
If Pickle were here, he would lie on the notes.
Yeah, totally.
But
Wesley would be desperate to get out of the room and then come back in and then leave and then come back in.
And then he would bat the pen around for a while.
Yeah, and that's not note taking.
No, absolutely not. So Lydia and Danny are over on the other side of the library flirting with the twins because that's a good idea.
Twins.
Because that's a good idea. But Allison, staring at Lydia's strikingly familiar Starbucks coffee cup.
Okay. I was like, this Beacon Hills coffee logo looks a bit familiar.
It looks real familiar.
Do the Hales also own the coffee shop?
No, but again, that's not quite a Triskelion, I don't think.
No, it's not. But I was like, who drew these?
Hold on. But it kind of tickles Allison's brain. She goes, maybe it's not a symbol. Maybe it's a logo. And then this is where I get unreasonably, irrationally angry with Ms. Argent.
Really?
She searches like Beacon Hills, like company logos.
Mm-hmm.
Allison, there is no apostrophe in logos.
Oh. Yes.
I'm looking at this go, logos okay. What?
But how many English classes has she actually been to?
Not that many.
They get destroyed by birds. She gets pulled out of them for various reasons.
She's moving usually, constantly, but Allison, yeah. there's no apostrophe in logos.
They are well, if you turn it around, it's the logos that belong to the Beacon Hills business. The logos of, if you invert the can't make it happen.
No, can't make it happen. I mean, like we could make it happen, but not with those words.
She's wrong.
You could do logos companies in Beacon Hills, but that doesn't. Why? That's a bad Google search.
Companies, logos, Beacon Hills at.
Exclamation point. So Allison decides to do a little searchity search of her own.
Yes.
Ugh.
At least someone other than Stiles is doing internet research.
At least someone else is flexing their muscles. Indeed. I have no notes about the next scene other than Stiles name drops Derek again. Derek says it's easier to turn teenagers.
Yes. Well, they've been having conversations all summer.
All summer.
Yeah.
All summer.
You know,
Fight me. Fight me. I know I might be wrong. I don't care. Fight me.
We're not wrong because there's nothing to prove otherwise until Jeff Davis tells us
that I was
so
wrong.
If he wants to come on here and tell us specifically what they were doing for 4 months that's not solving cases and discussing werewolf business, it stands.
It stands.
This is an open invitation for Jeff Davis to come tell us what happened.
Come tell me what happened. I want to know.
We will back down.
Oh, yeah. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Please tell me I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong.
But then we would have to get into a larger conversation with the creator about the death of the author and whether or not, if it's not in the text, if it did not occur on the screen or on the page, if it counts. Do you know what I mean? Like, if Jeff Davis says, oh, well, you know, in July, Derek went on a run. Like, okay, but it didn't occur on screen. It doesn't count as canon.
Yeah. What is canon? If it was written in the script but cut out of editing.
Yes.
If it was written in the script and filmed but cut out of editing. If it was...
Do deleted scenes count as canon because they didn't air and aren't...
Exactly.
Yeah. Those are fascinating questions that people have very divisive and strong opinions about.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. Something that I also have strong questions about. The pack
Yes.
The pack finally decides what to do with Isaac's little memories.
Yes. They go for a very therapeutic cold plunge.
They do.
I don't understand how this works. This is one of those mystical, magical things that I'm like, did someone just want to put Daniel Sherman into like a naked bath?
Yes, I think they did because they do a lot of also like really beautiful artistic shots of him with like slightly blue lips and his big blue eyes.
Oh, this is gorgeous. This whole scene is
beautiful.
Beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
My note here is welcome to the ice bath. We'll see you again.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome. We'll see you a little bit later. Can anyone tell me what foreshadowing means?
Yes, they didn't want to get rid of this tub, and I guess ice is cheap.
Yeah. Either that or it's those little plastic diamonds that they would put on the tables for like prom.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So speaking of things that are canon, and I have to ask why? Why, God, why?
Mm-hmm.
So Stiles, being a precocious pain in the ass 16-year-old, decides to put on what I can only imagine is like you're going to have to mark this not for work.
The cattle butt glove?
Yes, it's the insemination glove is what it is. It's the
Mm-hmm.
It's an elbow length rubber glove used primarily for
checking butt temperatures on cattle.
For doing mostly things with cows, but I think could also be used to do things with people in other contexts. And so everyone in the room, so Deaton, Isaac, Scott, Derek, everyone's in the room going like, why? What are you doing?
Yeah. But it's a fair question because why?
But they give the reaction shot to Derek.
Yeah.
Why?
It's because his face is so good at it. Like it's so minute. Like the mouth doesn't move. The mouth is that nice little line of perturbed. Perturbed, but also like, this is funny and I don't want to tell you it's funny.
It's funny. I don't want to tell you. Like, it's like little sprinkles. You could have given it to Scott. You could have given it to Deaton, but you gave it to Derek.
You gave it to Derek. Yeah.
Why? Why?
Because we're always winning. No.
This is how we can still win.
Yeah.
So Derek is trying in this moment with Isaac to be a better alpha.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be a bad alpha here in a minute, but he's trying to be a better alpha. He is trying to support Isaac. Like, if you don't want to do this, like, you don't have to. This is what we're trying to do, but there are other options. And he is trying. And Derek and Scott are trying to trust each other and working together to basically kill Isaac. And
kill him just a little bit
just
because Deaton wants to slow his heart rate down to put him into a trance-like state. I'm not sure how that works.
It doesn't.
I don't. This whole thing of like, does this? Well, I was gonna say, does this work with other people? But we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Like, how does? He's like, you'll be half transformed, but like, why? How does submerging a werewolf into ice water and then holding him there put him into trance? Like, there's no incantations, there's no wolfsbane, there's no nothing. It's just like a cold plunge until you sort of stop breathing a little bit.
I hate it. I
And
hate
then you
it.
float to the surface. Like, tell me, how did they discover this? Like, who was the first emissary to be like, hey, if we half drown a werewolf, we can hypnotize them?
I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know.
How
But
did one fall into an icy lake and they were like, hey, talk to Dave, see what he says?
see what he says.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I have absolutely no idea, but they basically drown him a little bit, and then he kind of comes into this trance-like state. And Deaton is very, very clear that Deaton should be the only one to talk to Isaac, because otherwise he's going to get confused and snap him out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so Deaton is like walking Isaac through the night that he found Boyd and Erica. Yep. So through this episode, we learn that Isaac found them.
Yes.
They've been searching for 4 months, and that Isaac found them probably the night that Brayden saved him from his injuries.
Yeah.
Because the alphas found him and injured him.
Yes.
And
big
so
slices on the side.
Yeah, slices on the side. So like we are trying to figure out what Isaac saw, because he couldn't, because it all kind of ties together, because Brayden talked to Isaac about the things that they stole from him.
Mm-hmm.
So they must have taken the memories out of like where they were and how he got there.
And what he saw.
And what he saw. And so they're trying to tap into what's left to find them.
Yep.
And
which Peter couldn't do on his own for some reason. Like the claws weren't enough because he's still weak from being dead, is what he keeps saying. He keeps saying, oh, I'm such a weak werewolf because I died.
Because I died and got reanimated.
Oh, I'm so weak.
But like, even I think the thing about it is that you would have had to hear it from Isaac, because Peter could only see things. He couldn't describe them.
Yeah. Yeah, he kept, when he was talking about it, he was like, oh, there's something and there's a room, but he didn't know what he was looking at.
Yeah, he had no idea what he was looking at. But Isaac is kind of getting walked back into that space, and he is very, very particular because he does not want to go back there.
He is scared.
He is very scared. And one of the things that I got from this little scene is Isaac says over and over and over again, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And that to me sounds so much like something that a kid would pull out of like a toolkit when they're first learning about boundaries.
Oh, yeah.
Or like recovering from abusive situations.
Well, let's not forget that Isaac was the abused kid.
Yeah, exactly. That like, you know, if you're ever in a situation where like you don't want to do something, here are some things you can say.
Yeah.
And just keep saying them until it happens.
Poor
and
guy.
So over and over and over again, he goes, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And I'm just like, oh, somebody is pulling out his very base defense mechanisms here. Because all the lights and the whole environment like shakes and flickers, and Isaac is like not having a good time. And Stiles keeps looking up at Derek, which like for like reassurance, which just like breaks my heart. And Isaac grabs on to Scott as he's walking through this. Nothing but respect for my boyfriend. Like Scott and Isaac. Yep. Let's feel some feelings here. But Derek is looking super, super concerned about like what Isaac is saying and what is happening to him.
Yes.
As he like shakes and is screaming and is like talking about all the scary things he doesn't want to talk about, because Deaton is trying to like walk him through what's going on. Yep. And then Derek officially falls off the horse and starts being a bad alpha because...
Well, yeah, because he's not getting what he wants. He's getting like, oh, it's stone and they're going to hurt each other. But he's not getting a location. He's not getting a description. He's not getting where exactly they are. So he just starts yelling out, demanding questions, even though he's been told not to. And Deaton is right there going, shut the fuck up.
Right there. Like, a fucking excuse you.
Yeah. So it's a very chaotic scene.
Yeah.
Of Isaac yelling out information and Derek screaming in his face and Deaton being like, bah, don't do that. We're going to lose him. But Isaac finally says that they are in a bank vault. Beacon Hills First National Bank is where they are when he snaps back to consciousness.
Except when he snaps back to consciousness, they all have to tell him that he said something else. Did
you think this was a weird edit? Like, why didn't we get a little bit of this information while he was kind of like, they're in a bank vault. There was a memory. There's a marble. It's dusty. There was a body. Like, why did the show withhold all of that information and not even give a hint of it until he snaps back to consciousness and Stiles is the one to be like, yo, buddy, you actually told us more. And they dragged you into a room with a dead Erica.
I think in TV reasons, it's because it adds dramatic tension. For real life reasons, I imagine it might have been a pickup as they changed the script.
Yeah. Because I was like, I mean, one, bummer. And two, like, weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's super weird. Like, especially because later in the show, we definitely get an image of somebody who died in there. It certainly wasn't Erica. I don't know what you're talking about. It absolutely wasn't Erica.
No, she escaped. She got on a plane.
Yeah, she's definitely with Jackson right now in London. It's 100% where she is. She's fine.
They are ruling the roost in London.
I know. They're having pack bonding time. They're going to go terror twins. It's going to be amazing.
Wild.
But yeah, no, you would think that having the shot of the body would be a better.
Yeah. Just like a little flash of a hint for the audience to be like, whoa, 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 what was that?
Yeah. And
then you come back from commercial break and you're like, ooh.
Yeah.
Erica is no longer with us. I mean, she is. She's in London.
She's in London. It's fine. It's fine.
She's no longer with the show.
Yeah, she's no longer with the show. I'm still mad about it. But
I'm super mad. But
they come back from commercial to a scene that has absolutely no reason to exist.
I mean, which one?
So they come back from what I can only understand is commercial. And
the weird cut. If you're watching it online, you're like, was that a commercial break? That feels like a commercial break.
It's definitely commercial break. But they come back and then they're talking about how do you get into the bank and the bank and the robbery, and because like Stiles like looking stuff up on his phone. And Derek starts to give him sass, and there's like 5 people in this room.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the Stiles and Derek show with the bank robbery internet sass off.
Yes.
What was the point of this? What was the purpose?
Just for us, I think.
It must be. It must have just been a present. It must have just been a gift.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think this was simply to enjoy.
Because it isn't even a great setup to the next scene where Scott and Stiles have been up all night looking for information on the bank vault robbery.
Mm-hmm. It is a very iconic shot of Stiles asleep on the paper.
My God, it's incredible. But it's like, it would have been stronger to do the optical flip of like, how long is it going to take? It's the internet, seconds. To, I can't believe we've been up for 10 hours and nothing. Because for me, it just flips to like the next day. Yeah. It just that flip isn't quite as strong, but I love both scenes. They're adorable.
It is. Yeah. I have editing questions sometimes of like, did you take something out?
Yeah.
Or did you leave this in for this? So a show has to be a certain length.
Right.
To fill the hour plus commercials, right? Like it has to be a specific length. So it can wobble between 42, 44 minutes.
Yeah.
But then you have to have the time for the commercials. So the editing is super specific to hit the commercial breaks, which is why all hour-long shows and half-hour shows of that time feel very similar, right? Like you hit these scene breaks, like you kind of know at the end of a scene is coming because it has to hit a mark to hit the commercial break. But then sometimes you're like, that scene ended weird. Like, well, because it had to cut for a commercial.
Yeah, because it had to cut for a commercial.
And sometimes I wonder, like, did they keep this in because they had to hit the commercial? Or is it still there because there's someone in the editing room that, like, is kind of into hysteric? And then, because some of these scenes don't happen in later seasons, right? Like, some of the hysteric really goes away.
Oh, yeah, it 100%. It disappears in 3B. It disappears. Not to put my fandom hat on, but this is Fandom on the Rocks.
This is what we do.
This is what we do. So, like, the 3A is, like, frighteningly heavy on hysteric.
Yes.
3B.
All the scenes that like fans remember
are from 3A.
Yeah, they're all here.
They're all from 3A. 3B drops it entirely.
Mm-hmm.
They go from talking every episode to not being in a shot together.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's wild.
I know the common theory among fans, and this is not just for Steric, right? A common theory for fans of, I think, especially male ships is that there's network interference.
Yeah.
To say that, oh, okay, this is getting really popular. Someone in the network has noticed that there's fandom interaction online, and they've been told to pull it back.
Yeah.
And then that theory gets made fun of by other people, like, oh, you're just imagining things. No one cares that much. Like, okay, but
Networks
then tell me, one, networks care. And two, tell me the other reason. Tell me why these 12 episodes are so different than the other 12 episodes. Like, just give me a reason. Oh, Steric are just bros. Okay. Then why aren't they, as friends, having the same conversations in 3B and 4 and 5 that they do in 2 and 3A?
Yeah.
Just explain it to me like I'm 4.
Yeah. Explain it to me.
Just go ahead and explain it to me. Because there's a marked difference.
Yeah, there's a marked difference. It happens
in other shows.
Yeah.
Where male characters get really close and somebody takes notice, and then suddenly both have girlfriends and they're never seen in a scene together again. You're like, all right, well, what happened here?
Yeah, because that, like, and I've got my Steric goggles on, and I know this, but you know, you look at 3A and they're building like a relationship and a friendship. Like they are comfortable with each other. They talk to each other. It's a whole thing. Then you get to 3B where they are very much not interacting together at all until the very end, and even that's kind of hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to season 4 where they both get girlfriends and are done.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's a choice. Like, okay.
It's a choice.
Interesting.
And like, are you telling me that if it was never meant to be a little romantic, or like if you were never hinting a little bit or having a little bit of fun with it, that two people who have been through literal hellfire aren't still going to talk even if they have girlfriends?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. If I almost died for my best buddy, I would still hang out with them.
Yeah. And like, I'm looking forward to kind of like rewatching it and looking kind of how Isaac moves around and how he moves with Scott and kind of how those things happen. But really looking at the friendships, because right now in 3A, there's not really a romance angle.
Yeah.
Like Scott and Allison are broken up. Stiles and Lydia aren't, like, Stiles isn't following her around like a puppy in this moment. Mm. Scott doesn't really have anything. Derek doesn't really have anybody. Stiles was about to, do stuff with Heather, and then she got disappeared. And like Derek will get some stuff here a little bit, but like we'll kind of see where that goes.
Mm-hmm. It's not like they're not busy.
It's not like they're not busy, but it's like it seems an odd choice.
Yeah.
It just seems an odd choice.
It does.
But as we get into like season 4, we'll start talking about the hail-sized elephant in the room.
Okay. Yep.
We'll start talking about the hail-sized elephant.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of people who are not inherently romantically linked in this particular episode, but should be, Allison and Lydia are just horribly sexy as they get out of their car, because they're both wearing these beautiful coats with their like big fluffy hair. And I'm just like, hello, ladies. Hello. And
I don't even
go to
wear
grab
nice
their
clothes. I'd be like, damn, I want a stylist.
And they both get out of whoever's car, this was Allison's, I think, and go to grab their purses out of the back. And Allison's definitely going to do something illegal because she has those bolt cutters in her car.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Mm-hmm. Not learning.
No, she's not learning. She's just going to stick her little nose like just right on through.
Mm-hmm. And not get in trouble.
No, of course not. Because her father is a highly respected federal arms dealer.
Allison Argent.
Allison Argent.
Whatever your middle name is that I can't remember.
Allison middle name Argent.
Yeah.
Anything else to say about Allison's car in the bank and the bolt cutters?
Not at the moment, because she in a moment. Well, the cut from like they're at school. She's withholding information from Scott at the moment because I think it was Lydia who was like, oh, we should talk to Scott about these bruises. And she's like, I got bolt cutters. And then all of a sudden it's nighttime and she's breaking into the bank. I was like, I expected the next scene to be at school. Right. And instead it is nighttime and she is breaking her way into this bank. I did have just like general questions that we don't need to discuss here because they're more like, how long has this bank been foreclosed on? And how many banks are in Beacon Hills? And how come this property can just sit empty and foreclosed on in this small town and not get renovated? And that was just really unimportant to the entire plot. Yeah. That was more just like my brain going like, it seems like a big piece of property in a town to go unused. How convenient. But anyway, instead though, we are back at the loft.
The loft.
And my note here was this iconic Steric scene.
Yes, this iconic Steric scene because we have Stiles, Scott, and Derek and Peter.
Peter is off just like in the dark
on the staircase, just hanging out.
Shit.
Just hanging out. But Stiles, Scott, and Derek are like poring over the blueprints to the bank.
Yep.
Because it turns out that there was a bank robbery and that Stiles' dad, the sheriff, worked on the case. And so somehow that equates to Stiles getting the entire lowdown on how the thieves got into the bank vault and the blueprint.
This whole thing.
The bank.
Sure, Stiles. All right.
It would be super cool if Papa knew about werewolves so that they could just explain the situation. Super cool.
Totally.
Oh, well. And so they're doing all these things. And I don't even know where Scott is. Because they don't have him in the shot.
I know. I think he's to Stiles' other side, but I honestly don't care. He's to
Stiles' other side, but like I don't know what Scott thinks about the plan. I have no idea because he is not in the fucking shot. Because the shot is just Stiles talking and Derek just staring wide-eyed at him
with those big ol' arms,
like with his big ol' arms, like very like postured.
Mm-hmm.
He's very like peacocky. It's very odd. And
he's showing off for his little man.
He's showing off. And so they have this conversation about, Stiles has done all the looking at all the schematics. And he's like, well, they've redone this wall. And so there's going to be about 3 inches there. And we're just going to need a drill so that we can actually like plow through the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Derek, in the like most peacocky way possible.
Hell yeah.
Decides,
I don't need no drill.
I don't need a drill. I'll just punch through it. And Stiles is like, what? You gonna punch it? You got about this much space. You gonna punch it? Go, come on, big guy. Show me what you got. The fuck is this scene? The fuck is this?
It's 2 men flirting.
And then you've got Peter in the background just laughing. He's smirking and then he laughs.
It's because his little nephew's like finally flirting with a boy.
Like, what the fuck is this?
He's flirting with a boy.
Oh, this is wild. It's absolutely wild. And I don't...
It's truly wild. It's also, fanon or canon. Canon is big guy.
Yeah, big guy is
getting
canon.
Called big guy is canon.
Yeah, big guy is canon. And so...
And Derek's he's like, yes, I will punch my way through because he bonks his fist into Stiles.
And Stiles goes flying.
Yeah. I don't think it's spousal abuse yet.
No. No.
Getting close, but not quite.
Getting close, but no cigar.
Yeah. I love this scene so much.
Oh, it's the best.
And then Derek's like, what about you? And Stiles like, yeah, if you want me to come, like, not you.
Not you.
Clearly talking to Scott about, joining this hunting party. Peter was over there like, no, I can't come join the fight because I'm a little bitch and I don't think we should be doing this.
Can someone kill him again, please?
Yes, totally. Like, you're not going to help at all, you little punk ass.
Yeah. So Scott, again, is doing that like risk and reward thing about, is it worth the risk to break in to kind of bust them out? Like, what does that look like? And he's like, well, I don't know about Erica and my heart shatters. But if Boyd is in there, we got to get him out.
Yep.
And so
he really took that risk and reward lesson to heart.
He did. It was like ephemeral from last episode.
Yeah.
He took a school lesson and he took it to heart. Mm-hmm. Because he has been paying attention for all of sophomore year. So junior year, he's going to pay attention.
He's there. He's locked in.
Love that. So we finally get into the vault, at least in our little brains. And it's Boyd. Hi, Boyd. I love you. Please be safe. And
doesn't look very safe.
It does not look very safe. But then there's a girl. It's a new girl because it's not Erica.
Other brunette. I gotta say, we got a little too many brunettes happening, because this one, Morel, the alpha, they're all in the dark. They're all looking a little similar when they're running by.
With the blue. They all, everyone's flying. Like, everyone's brown hair is just flying out from behind them. I don't know who is where.
Yeah. When, like, it's in the dark, everyone's fighting, and there's just, like, a whoosh of brown hair. Like, which one was that?
How worried do I have to be right now? Which brown-haired floosh is coming towards me?
Did I need to care about that one? No? Okay.
So
Jennifer Blake, too? Like, do I need to...
Miss Blake, what are you doing here in the bank vault? So
looking for a book.
We go back to Allison, who's just like wandering the dilapidated halls of an old abandoned bank, and then gets politely assaulted by Miss Morel.
Yeah, what's she doing here, lady?
Trying to protect her? Question mark. She's like, hide in that closet. And Allison's like, okay.
Sure. Right as she closes the door, basically, as Deucalion and the alphas come sauntering down the hallway. And I don't know any of their names. I don't think it matters. The barefoot alpha, like, stops outside the closet where Allison is hiding, who then uses ammonia to hide her scent.
Yeah, very smart.
But wouldn't the alpha be like, ammonia? I wonder if someone is using that to hide their scent.
Maybe, but in this moment, she doesn't care.
I know. That was one moment where I was like, shouldn't she be a little smarter and be like, that's a strange scent that suddenly appeared when I stopped here?
Yeah, it's a little whatever, but you know what? Not
it
mad
was
about
very
it.
Smart of Allison, and I do hope that was part of her training from Chris.
Yes, that would be a very
if you're
smart
in danger,
thing. Yeah,
and there happens to be ammonia.
Yeah, use something strong smelling to mask your scent.
Yep, garlic maybe to ward off the vampires.
But Allison, as soon as the alphas pass, she finally turns on her flashlight and turns around to find nothing. She
Absolutely
finds
nothing. She finds nothing.
It's
so weird how this closet is completely empty. And she also, I guess, didn't smell anything when she first walked into the closet.
This closet is totally devoid of corpses, and there's nothing in there that would smell.
Decomposing flesh. Moving on. No, she finds Erica's decomposing body on the floor, and it sucks.
It sucks, and my heart is shattered.
Why did they put Erica in the closet?
Yeah, why do you put her in the fucking closet? Why?
It's rude.
Why don't you just like leave her in the bank vault?
I don't know.
Like,
I don't like it.
I'm so mad about it. I'm so mad about it. Ugh.
We barely knew ye Erica as she's off to her new life in the Hebrides.
London. She's in London with Jackson.
Getting fitted for a new leather jacket.
Correct.
Because this one's a bit messy now.
Yeah, this one's a little gross now. She's going to get fitted for a new one. And Allison is like super duper shocked, as it would be when you find a corpse in a closet. And apparently I was very angry in my note-taking process, because in all caps it says, "It is your fault, Allison, get wrecked." And while this particular death isn't exactly Allison's fault, I was a little too angry at her for this. Like, she didn't help.
Yeah.
No, because like Boyd and Erica ran away on their own. They did on their own. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't until after they escaped from the Argents that like they got wrecked. So like I'm still a little mad at Allison, even though it's misdirected anger.
Has caused a lot of problems.
And she never got the chance to apologize to Erica.
Yeah.
I hope in that moment she apologizes to her corpse.
Would she have apologized? Because she hasn't been apologizing for anything else yet.
Well, maybe it's because it's a corpse.
That's true.
But speaking of corpses, we get our first real solid Steeder of the mid-season.
Yes.
We haven't gotten any Steeder since season 1. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Stiles has been left behind at the loft with Peter, who is trying to nap on the couch because he doesn't give a shit.
Derek has a velour couch. This like turquoise velour couch with a perfect spotlight.
I think he stole it. That doesn't seem like something he'd pay for.
No, it doesn't. And like Stiles is pacing back and forth in front of the giant wall of windows in a perfect silhouette. Like, oh, yes.
Sometimes the cinematography is real good.
Correct.
And he's trying to figure out, like, something doesn't feel right about the bank. Why the bank? What are they doing there? And his questions finally kind of spark something in Peter, who perks up and is like, what are those bank vaults made out of? And they go to the plans, and they are made out of hecatolite, I think is what it is. Which Peter is like, oh, that's a problem. Because I guess he has a PhD in building materials. And he realizes that Boyd and the girl are actually there to kill Derek and Scott. Or will kill Derek and Scott. And that is a problem for him, I guess. I guess he has feels. Yeah, no, I feel like season 1 Peter would be like, whatever. Season 3 Peter's like, I feel like we should maybe tell them.
Yeah, probably. So they do.
They do. Derek and Scott have made it to the bank, but Scott's like doing his risk and reward thing. You know, we don't have all the information to know what's the real risk here. They put the Triskele on Derek's door 4 months ago. What have they been doing this whole time? But Derek is like running head first into situations without waiting for the details because he thinks he knows what he's risking for the reward of Boyd and Erica. Or Boyd and something.
Boyd and Erica is what he's thinking right this second. I know what I'm risking, my life for theirs, and I won't blame you if you don't follow me.
Yep. Which, this is a Derek that we know. This is not new for Derek. He is impulsive. He thinks he's right. He does not take direction well.
No, but at least in this moment, he is giving Scott some agency. Because like season 1, Derek would be like, I'm right, you're wrong. And if you don't follow me, you're stupid.
Yeah.
At least season 3, Derek is like, I think I'm right, but I'm not going to blame you if you don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let me go.
Yeah. So he's learned a little.
And so then Derek proceeds to do some magical gymnastics work to get up on the on the ladder with some impressive pull-ups. Wow, he's pretty. And then punches through the bank wall. Oh, alpha, my alpha.
Oh, alpha, my alpha.
Boom.
Mm-hmm.
And we find Boyd.
He's looking a little fucked up.
He's looking a little worse for wear, but he is alive.
He is there. He is standing on his own 2 feet. This is right when Stiles calls Scott to tell them to get the fuck out of there because the walls of the vault are made out of a material that scatters the moonlight. I did not do any research whatsoever to know if this was correct. I did not care because it works for the plot. The betas have not felt the full moonlight in months. This is the Alpha Pack's plan. They have been starved of moonlight for 4 months, and now that the break-in has happened, they are getting the full blast of full moonlight in their eyeballs, and they are going to go bananas on Scott and Derek.
Okay, so according to Wikipedia, this is the dumbest thing a bank vault would ever be made out of.
Because it's porous?
Well, hexagonite is moonstone.
Okay. Makes great jewelry.
It makes great jewelry. It is a 6 on the Mohs hardness scale.
Out of what?
10.
Okay.
So not, strong, but not that strong. And it's really shiny.
So it's reflective. Okay.
It's like what?
So did a bad guy make the vault in the first place for this eventuality to happen? Like who made the vault?
Must have been.
Okay, that's the backstory I want. Who made the vault? Like 100 years ago.
I don't know.
Explain to me this, Davis.
Explain. Really, I think it's just because it's moonstone.
Coming up on Fandom on the Rocks, we will have moonstone merch. You too can scatter moonbeams at your enemies.
So Boyd is alive, but being a little worse for wear. But as Scott is receiving all this information, the new girl makes her appearance.
Yes. We got a new girl. We got a new character. We have a new Hale.
New character alert.
This is Cora. This is Derek's younger sister who...
Derek recognizes her.
Yes, he does. He's like, Cora?
Breaks.
He is so sad. He is so confused.
Like, let us do the math. Let us do the math.
I don't do math. What are you talking about?
Math. So in season 1, the fire was 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have been 7 years since he's seen Cora.
Okay.
And so she is about the same age as Scott-ish.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So he hasn't seen her since she was like 9 or 10.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
And thought she was dead.
Thought that she died in the fire.
Yep. Along with the rest of his family. Mm-hmm.
So Derek is just completely broken because his baby sister is alive and in front of them.
Yes, and about to kill him.
And about to kill him. Ruh-roh, ruh-roh.
And even Cora's like, Derek, you better get the fuck out of here because I am not in control of myself.
Yeah.
But they can't. They
No.
can't leave.
No, they can't leave because Morel decides to make some choices.
Yes, there is a line of mountain ash on the floor.
That Scott
sees. And Morel opens the vault door to complete the line of mountain ash and then walk away with Deucalion. Ma'am, what
Bye-bye.
are you doing?
Bye-bye.
What was this about?
This is not the first time you've gotten your hands dirty. Like, goodbye.
Okay, bye. The fuck, Morel? We'll come back to you in later episodes.
Deep sigh. So, like, it's Boyd versus Scott and Cora versus Derek in this werewolf fight to the death.
And obviously, Derek is not going to fight that hard to hurt his sister.
No, just try to get her down.
Yeah.
And so back in a few scenes ago, when Morel caught Allison, she's like, go and hide in here until you hear the fighting. Once you hear the fighting, it'll be safe for you to come out.
Yeah.
So not only did Morel know that werewolves were going to try to like come in that moment on that night,
have a rumble,
but had the entire mountain ash thing lined and sealed so that Allison could just come out and like not get hit by the werewolves.
Yeah.
Like, there is some serious plotting, Morel, ma'am.
What's she doing? Weren't you supposed to be working with Deaton? What's happening?
So many questions. So, of course, Allison decides to come out and find the vault and proceed to break the mountain ash line.
Yes, which lets Cora and Boyd loose. I guess because they'd rather run free than continue their fight.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever. It sends them out into the world, which pisses Derek off because now two slightly feral, powerful werewolves are on the loose in Beacon Hills, and Derek is not happy about that shit.
Yeah, because he's going to have to go get them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoops. And then so Derek and Allison have their like first knockdown drag out fight that they've really needed to have for some time now.
Yes.
And Allison here, Gerard is not my fault. It's like, on the one hand, no, Gerard is not your fault. And also, can you acknowledge what happened?
She does not want to acknowledge her part in anything.
No, she doesn't. And I just want her to.
I know. And I know that what makes for good TV and stories and everything are the flawed characters, right?
Correct,
like if everyone was perfect and lovely, we'd be like, boring.
Correct. This is what makes her interesting.
But and as like old fucks that we are, we're looking down on teenagers going, hey, make better choices.
No, of course not. Your brain's made of jello.
They can't make better choices.
No, you're trying to move through this fucking trauma of being manipulated by your grandpa. Like, I get it.
Yeah,
but like,
they're also characters in a TV show, and like the writers are taking their little dolls and going, meh, 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 meh.
Correct. They're just playing Barbies. It's fine.
They're just playing Barbies with these characters. Someone has to be the punching bag of bad choices. It's Allison. You know, at the same time, there is something of like, the white lady's never going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the rich white lady's not going to get caught because her dad runs the weapons manufacturer.
He's a really respected, he's a well-respected federal arms dealer.
No one's going to go after that family.
Gerard is not my fault. And what about your mother? Tell her, Scott. Well, like, Scott, what does he mean? What does he mean?
Yeah, and also the line, like, I'm not the one turning teenagers into killers. Like, no, that's just the rest of your family. Like, oh, ouch. I like this fight a lot because they are.
No, it's great.
Going for it.
And special shout out to all of the Derek and Allison shippers in the universe for their enemies to lovers.
Yes, this is true.
That is set up very nicely right here. This is a good fight, and it's a good fight because as opposed to the fights that she has with like Scott, you know, about like, why don't you just let me be a person? Like, Derek and Allison have some beef, some actual beef.
They do.
Allison got manipulated by Kate, the woman who burned down Derek's entire family and seduced him as a teenager. Allison then proceeded to try to injure and kill like both Derek and Scott and put her friends at risk. Allison then proceeded to get abused and manipulated by her grandfather, in which she shot and captured and then aided and abetted the torture of Derek, Scott, Derek, Erica, and Boyd.
Yep.
Like,
it's all bad.
It's not good. Not good.
No bueno.
Gerard is not my fault. Like, it's not your fault. And also, like, it's not my fault, but I am sorry for what happened.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's like Derek is trying so hard to not like out Allison's mom. But it's like Scott's got to do it. And Scott again is like, I don't want to. And I get it. I get it. He's choosing to opt out.
Yep.
And like,
and you can't do that now, buddy.
But you can't do that now. You got to make a choice.
It's time. Step it up.
And speaking of weird editing choices.
Yeah.
We have, they're in like the bank and they're like fighting and everything's great and fabulous. And then we just
smash cuts to Lydia.
Smash cut to Lydia, who is like vaguely napping, sitting up in her bed, fully dressed.
Yeah.
With the lights on?
Yeah. I don't know, man. This one was weird. I mean, a lot of stuff is weird, but I was so discombobulated. Yeah, just cuts to Lydia, who wakes up from some sort of sleepy time, who is full out screaming.
Bloody murder. Just full tilt screaming.
Full out tilt screaming, and that is the end of the episode.
Ba-bow.
Okay, goodbye, everyone. Nice to talk to you. We'll catch you.
Bye. Like, I really like this episode. Chaos Rising is correct. Like, things are happening. Scary things are happening. We've lost Erica. We've received Cora. People are making choices. Allison is coming into her like era. Something's happening to Lydia, but at least she's read in now and has a support network.
We've got a missing girl, so we have another case on our hands.
Yep.
Derek's got a new home. Peter is still lurking.
He's back.
We've got an alpha pack still. We've got some sort of a bad with Deucalion. We don't know what he's up to. And it's only the second episode of the season.
Yep. So I love the season. I really do. It's great. We're cooking. We're cooking.
What's it? Cooking with gas?
Cooking with gas. Also, just whichever writer or editor decided to give us so many little steric nuggets.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
So if you have any of those on the cutting room floor for the rest of the seasons, pass them over.
Hook a girl up.
Hook a girl up.
Also, some massive shout outs to Scott and Isaac in this episode, where Isaac, in his moment of like death and decay, reaches out not for his alpha, but for his alpha. He reaches out for Scott. I love Isaac and Scott so much. I do.
They're cuties.
I do. I love them so much.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Shout out to Daniel Sherman for willing to get into that tub. Who knows how cold it actually was?
I don't know,
there's behind the scenes.
Probably wasn't pleasant.
Probably not great.
So, yes, another excellent episode. So excited to keep going.
Oh, poor Erica.
She is living in Jackson's apartment. They are starting the European branch of the Hale Pack.
Surely he has like a townhouse, like a whole...
He's got something. They're starting, Hale Pack International. It's fine.
Yes.
It's fine.
Yes. A consortium.
The Hale Pack Consortium.
Yeah. They can keep track of the goings-on in Europe.
Indeed.
I'll take it.
Indeed.
Okay. Do you think we missed anything?
No, I don't think so.
Solid? Okay.
I think we're good. This episode is fantastic.
It is fantastic. I do want to note, I've been going to the Teen Wolf subreddit and finding the official discussion threads from the episodes from like 11 years ago and reading through them after I watched the episode to see what people were saying.
Amazing.
At the time when it was airing, because I think it's hilarious. And when Lydia does her little screamy thing, people are like, oh my God, what's going on? And one person, so I don't know, spoilers for later episode seasons or whatever, one person was like, I don't know, maybe she's a banshee. And that was when this episode aired 11 years ago.
Nice.
I was like, well played.
Well done. Well spotted.
I was like, congratulations. So it's not like they went back to the thread and added, and it was like live blogging as the episode was airing.
Yeah. Nice. Which means that the writers actually left enough clues to get picked up.
Or they're so like into lore that it was enough for them to be like, well, I know enough about, to be able to pick up clues. Yeah.
About supernatural creatures to be like,
Yep.
I wonder what.
Yep.
Yes, it's very, very exciting.
And I guess we can say it's such old news. So Erica was killed off in the season because her actress, Gage Golightly, left the show to film a pilot for a different series, which happens, right? It's the same reason that Jackson's actor left. But her pilot never got picked up for a series order. And then she still decided not to come back to the show.
I miss you, Erica.
So I'm sorry that your show didn't get picked up to series order. We miss you.
I'm also sorry you didn't come back to Teen Wolf. Please know that you live on in fandom and in our hearts.
Yeah, like hopefully the conditions were such that you just you weren't unhappy and just thought you'd have a better opportunity somewhere else. I don't know. Yeah. She was in other shows later, but yeah.
Yeah, hope you're doing great.
Yep. So it's not like they killed her off just to do it. The actress had another opportunity, which happens.
Yeah.
But it's a bummer for Erica stans and the plotline.
There's also, speaking of Erica going off and her actor doing other things, there was a gift set when Olivia Rodrigo's driver's license came out by a user on the internet named Barricas, obviously. Hi, I love you. You're incredibly wonderful and very talented. Who did a gift set of Boyd and Erica with driver's license.
Wait, if you find it again, we should link it on Patreon.
Oh my God, yes, it's so good. I think that was Barricas who did it. I'm giving you a lot of credit even if you didn't do this one. I think you did, though, about Boyd learning to drive.
Cute.
About and passing Erica's house.
Yeah.
Because Erica never got her driver's license and it's yeah,
that's
and
really cute.
It was beautiful. And so I'll try to find it.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Yeah. Well, another A+ episode.
Yes, indeed.
Good stuff.
Indeed. And we will see you all next episode. We got this.
Wild season on the horizon. Thank you for listening. You can find us on the internet, Fandom on the Rocks. You know the drill. Patreon.com/Fandom on the Rocks, etc. So on and so forth. We will see you next time.
Oh!
You've been listening to Pack Dynamics, a Fandom on the Rocks podcast. For more episodes, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. You can follow us online at Fandom on the Rocks. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can subscribe to our Patreon account at patreon.com/Fandom on the Rocks. Subscribers get access to ad-free content, exclusive bonus episodes deep diving into fandom, and more. So until next time, keep your pack close.